Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition, to another installment of Hashtag Fade to Black. I am your host, Donnell Marchie Morris, here with Anita Joe, aka Teach, and Beast Johnson. And we have a special guest, and I'm going to let Teach do the honors.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, we have Mr. Joe Williams. He is the owner and proprietor the president of the Electronic Services Technology. And he's here today to talk to us about small businesses who may need his services to answer to all of your questions and automating your office, from bookkeeping software to designing programs specifically for running your business. If you were the kind of business that really just didn't have all your paperwork together, so you can apply for these PPP loans that the government is giving out, well, it's Mr. Joe Williams that has the answer for you today. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you Mr. Joe Williams. And if you can, just tell us something about your business, and especially why is it important for African Americans to tune in if they're running a small business?
Well, thank you, Anita. First of all, let me just say that this is a real pleasure to get the opportunity to share some things, and in particular with our community, because in many cases we seem to find ourselves behind the eight ball when it comes to really flourishing when things are happening. And one of the things I would just say is that this pandemic has really been a disaster in one respect, but it's been a godsend in another, because it's allowed a lot of people, in particular those that are thinking about really doing something, allowed them to have a little downtime to direct their thought energy toward how to develop more. This is an opportunity where there's a lot of do-overs right now, and this is the time to sink in, and if you're interested in doing some things, now is a good time to get started. So I just wanted to say that we're in a great time, even though it's a terrible time, it's a great time. For me personally, regarding my software development, I've been doing this for many years. Don't have enough fingers and toes to even count how many years I've been actually doing software development. And early on, when I got started, I didn't get started in software. I got started while I was working with computers, but I was working for a company. And one of the things that I saw was that the service personnel, because I was servicing computers, the service personnel was actually the backbone to these companies. So that kind of enticed me to go into business for myself, in addition to the fact that my dad was in business. So a lot of the bugaboos about going into business I really didn't have, because I was just brought up in that kind of environment. So the concept of really not succeeding really didn't come to my attention, mentally. I never thought about what if I failed. So I know I had an advantage over a lot of people, but I would say to the people listening, don't let that discourage you that you don't have a background or experience in what you want to do. Just dig in and go forth and do it. So now I'll kind of get back to what I was referring to or talking about in terms of me getting involved with business. I had some employees early on, and I'd have to say that for a young man, because at that time I was a young man, and the employees I had was several young people. They were a little younger than me, but they were all young people. And to be very candid with you, I thought that was an exceptional bunch for Black folks working for Black people. I mean, usually we just don't have that kind of cohesiveness. But they were really good folks. But they did have this one problem, and that was that they were all on CP time. We just could not. I could not get
Yeah.
everybody to come to work on time.
On time.
Somebody was going to be late, if not all of them that week.
Right,
And
right.
and
But
it didn't
before we
matter.
go
Mhm.
any further, we have to do our opening statement.
Ah,
So Donnell is, I guess he's having technical difficulties, but I'm going to ask Mr. Beast Johnson if he would go forth and do his opening statement, and then we'll go one by one, and then we'll come back to your interview. Okay?
Before that, Teach, there's one other thing that we forgot to do as well. And seeing as though Mr. Williams, before I do this, looking at your screen right now is very reminiscent of one of our past panelists. Sitting in a office laboratory like scenario, dark brother like yourself, low cut, with the glasses. So I feel real good when I say this for my African brethren. It's a little greeting that we do to welcome in our guests and welcome in new viewers. I'm going to give out the initial greeting, and your response is simply, hey, like you would hear in most hip hop songs. So you ready, Teach?
I'm ready.
Mr. Williams, on behalf of Fade to Black, Imani Wado! And you respond, hey! An African greeting of brotherhood and love from one fellow brother to another. Welcome to the show.
thank you, thank you.
Now for our opening statements, that will be my opening statement. Show love. I have never met this. This is literally the first time I've ever met this man. Well, I still show this man that agape style love. You got to use that church term, agape. AGAPE. That means universal love. That means I love you even when you don't deserve it. That means I love you even when you refuse to love yourself. That's agape love. And that's the love we need to really exude out to everybody. I can love you in the platonic, in the friendship, in the physical, in the biblical, in the sexual, and every other metaphysical existential term out there. But to really show somebody that agape love, that love that knows that I don't have to know you, but I know if I see something happen and you involved, I'm going to immediately be concerned. Like I had a little moment prior to the show early. I was leaving the local store and there was a brother that was in distress. And I kind of thought he was just a wando because he just randomly started talking to me. But then I looked at the whole situation and, excuse my vernacular, for lack of a better term, he had this crazy white woman in his car that was screaming and she refused to get out. And we on the east side of my city, which is primarily black. So you got a brother in a nice car trying to leave with an emotional and aggressively spastic white woman. And I had to show this man that love, like, hey, I can't in all good faith let you leave here without at least letting somebody know what's going on, bro. This situation don't look good. And I can't allow you to leave with this woman, let alone with this woman in this state. It just looks bad for you, bro. Like, I don't even know you, brother to brother. This just looks bad. And I made sure for that man left, he was in a good place. I said, I don't know this man. And I'm sure he will remember that love and he will in turn pay that love forward. And slowly but surely over time, if everybody do it, or hell, at least every 3 people do it at the same time, we'll heal up real quick. So if you ain't trying to do no agape love, don't talk to me about you love me. And with that, I yield the floor.
Okay.
Teach.
All right. So my mission is to uplift, motivate, and inspire in everything that I do and touch the lives of people worldwide. And one of the things that I'll share with you when I was in Tanzania, I believe as you give, you receive. If your hands are open, they're open to give, they're open to receive. And one of the things that I experienced when I was in Tanzania, I experienced a different kind of love. And it was the love of appreciation, not just appreciation, but the love of appreciation. I never knew it existed. And I only felt it after I had given a lecture to the students of Tsuba University on the role of the gifted artist. And most of them were young artists striking out to make something of their art. And the conference was entitled Art for Social Transformation. But after delivering my lecture, each and every one of those students came up to me. They put their right hand in my right hand and put it on my heart. And then they leaned in and hugged me. And after the first or second person, I'm like, wow, that's a different style. But the third one, it just rocked in my mind and in my heart that they were giving me the love of appreciation. They appreciated the words that I gave them to set fire to their life, to set fire to their goals, to set fire to their talent, to move them in a direction that they can grow and expand and become the best persons that they could be. So I agree with Beast on this issue of love. And there's different categories of love. There's different ways to express it. There's different ways to receive it. There's different ways to give it. And tonight I give you all the love of appreciation, appreciating a person that can speak life into you. And that's the mantra that we all should share. If we spend time connecting versus, man, did you see that? Talking about gossip or talking about low vibrational things. But let's our conversation uplift, motivate, and inspire each and every person that we come in contact with. And with that, I yield the floor to Mr. Joe Williams to give his opening statement.
Thank you, Anita. You did take my thunder a bit when you first opened up by saying your mission statement. But my mission statement is a little different anyway because that's a business track. But before I even mention that, I do want to say that as a kind of introvert that I am, I'm generally not around the general public a lot. Mostly I'm by myself. But one of the things that I guess I have learned over the years that really has guided my life in terms of people that I let into my life, and that is my measuring stick is pretty much if you're the kind of person that I detect feels the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If I can detect that that's a part of your mode of operation, then I'm interested in working with you. I'm not concerned whether you're Muslim or Jew or any religious aspect. I look at and like to deal with those that I find are just fair. When I say fair, I mean fair with others just like you're fair with yourself. We're always fair with ourselves. We give ourselves plenty of latitude for any mistakes that we might make. And that's the kind of thing that I feel that we have to give to others. If we want it, then we should be able to give it. We should understand that that we're all learning as we go through here. In particular, us as a people, we got a lot to relearn because we've been hampered, and I'm talking about from centuries of being under the pressure of not understanding and being able to deal with your brothers and sisters properly. So I take all that into account, so I don't allow people to, if they're doing something that I don't particularly agree with, I recognize that the main reason I don't agree with it is because that's just not how the exposure in life that I got. So I try to live my life based on if I think you're looking and to do something positive, then I'm for that. If you're looking to do something negative, or at least what I might call negative, because what I might call negative is a negative. And I use the example of the lion in the jungle. The giant lion in the jungle, he goes to eat up the wildebeest. And me and you might say, oh, why is this guy let that happen? But that's the way it is. So I can't judge that. I just have to understand that that is part of life. And so there's many things that people do that I don't necessarily agree with, but I have to give that leeway and openness to make sure that I don't miss some nugget of truth that person is espousing, and I missed it because I threw out too much negativity from what I saw him doing or her doing. So as a person that doesn't do a whole lot of talking, I'm going to kind of end it there and say that, but I will say that I'm very, very happy and pleased to be on the program this evening. And hopefully I'll be able to lend some helpful information to those that are listening.
Absolutely. We can't hear you, Donnell. Okay, it seems that he's having.
As part of our conspiracy theory, at least one time during the show, we will have some type of technical issue. So we feel like there's some kind of angry techno person that doesn't like our views and is trying to stop us.
Well, that's, from my perspective, that's just another reason that we have to come together and everybody do what they can do. You see, this particular broadcast is not magic. It's just that we don't know how to do a lot of the internal technical things, but we can learn, and we should learn, so that we're not subject to the whims of what other people might say or do.
True. On that point, I feel like it's more than we need to learn. We just need to get reacclimated. Because if you look at, I take it from the aspect of look at all the inventions actually made in America and all the actual achievements. Vast majority were Black. Like if Black people weren't here and didn't do what we did, you wouldn't have America. Down to the most minute and trivial of mundane things we created. So I feel like we innately have that understanding and that capacity for that engineering spirit. Most of us have just lost that attachment and just need to be reacclimated too.
Well, I can agree with that, and I guess that's really what I was saying, that none of this stuff is beyond what we can do. So there's no excuse. We just have to get at it, but it takes coming together, working with other people, because everyone does not do the same thing. But when we come together, we'll find that we've got more than enough to accomplish any task that's before us, or any problem that's before us. We will come up with a solution.
Let's speak a little bit more about your actual expertise. He says software design. Even though we live in a very tech savvy and knowledgeable era, most people will hear that term and still get confused. Newer generation will automatically think, oh, he must be one of the dudes that make apps. So could you kind of like specify what your particular lane of software design and development is, PC versus residential, commercial, mobile?
Okay. Yeah, there is a lot of different aspects to this thing called software design and development. You're totally correct that there's many aspects of it, and the part that I'm personally interested in is designing software applications that actually work on a PC. I don't deal too much with, well, I don't deal with all with working with the mobile devices. And as we go on, I'll explain why that's not my particular direction. All of it's ultimately got to tie in, but that's not something that I'm personally working with at this time. But my mission, quite frankly, is to help our small businesses get into the 21st century using technology where we need it, but not allowing us to go down the rabbit hole working with technology that, and I'm talking about specifically business now, working with technologies that really empower other people, and you don't really, as a business person, don't really have the control that I personally think a business should have. You know, as this technology has been evolving, for those who've been in the industry, have seen how the independence of a business person has been eroding further and further, because the more they get into technology, the less they actually control. I'll give you a quick example, and that's with the in the healthcare industry. You know, you've got a lot of doctors out there, independent doctors. They'll call themselves that, independent doctors. And as this technology has rolled out, now their clinical expertise is not enough to put them in that kind of elite class, because in today's world, if you don't have the ability to electronically communicate those clinical services that you might render your patients, well, that independence has went away now, because you are now controlled by those, because that's almost a mandate that you have this electronic capability to share your clinical records with those who, other healthcare professionals. And if you don't have that electronic capability, you're out on the fringe. You got to work with those who do, and which means they control a lot. If I could further expand a little bit on that, I'll just say, as an example, this whole scenario about telemedicine. That's a new thing that many people are beginning to hear about, telemedicine, and it's a good concept, and it's quite lucrative, quite frankly. And
yes,
but it's all on the backs of the actual healthcare professional. He actually conducts the televideo or interview, and he's the one that actually gets paid for that. But the problem that I'm trying to address is that because many of these doctors have been hoodwinked into thinking that they need technology that only big technology companies could give them, or only that the hospital can supply for them. That means they relinquish the control. They actually have to do the telemedicine service, but because the hospital or some large entity is controlling the televideo connectivity, that doctor really does, he can't even bill for it. He's got to let someone else bill for it. What I guess I'm saying is that technology is very simple. Everybody's got one. Everybody's got a cell phone, and the doctors basically have a laptop with a camera. And you just need some simple software to tie those two together, and you could do that right yourself. Make all the money that the insurance companies pay yourself, versus giving it off to somebody else, because they control the technology strings. So what I guess I'm saying is that they are things that we need to look at as to how to take this technology and take all the fluff off of it and get down to the core of what's needed and what's workable and what makes sense, dollars and cents wise, so that we can get into these things at a much less expensive rate than what people tell you it takes to do certain things. So my mission is to help our businesses understand that there's, as my daddy used to say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And so we don't have to spend all of our money just to be technology savvy. We can spend it with the right people who can help you, and we can all grow. So that's my mission, to help our small businesses not to paint themselves in a corner and not be able to financially move one way or the other.
Can y'all
As
hear me right
someone
now?
that, oh, yeah, yeah, we can hear you
Okay.
good.
Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. Let me go ahead. Let me step in. Hopefully, I'm not stepping on each other's shows.
Oh no,
Apologies. The internet on my end is horrible. They watching out for me. They calling me. So, but other than that, I've been watching the questions that's been asked and the opening statements, and I missed the traditional, what we do when we have a guest on. So, apologies for that. So I got the phone in my hand right now. If you can see the green screen in the back. So I actually have a question for you, Joe. So Teach and Beast already covered the bases with the questions, the other two questions I want to ask, but I want to ask you this one. Um, on creating this business and creating the software, did you receive any negativity while you was doing this? Because you would be around people that when you said that you out to do something and you have that one or group of people is like, man, that's never going to happen or anything like that. Have you got any backlash from that?
Well, unfortunately, I have, especially early on in out here. And I just didn't, I maybe be trying to explain some of the things that I was doing to some business people, and they would, oh yeah, I already know about that. I do this or I do that, and so I realized that they didn't want to talk to me, so I just kind of backed off. But I would get that in many circles that I was going in, but I kept saying, well. I, the thought of jealousy kept being in the back of my mind, but I would not accept it. That's what was happening. That they just be jealous that they didn't understand something that you were trying to share with. Uh, but unfortunately, over the years, I found out that that is very true. We've got a lot of people that I think we're coming out of it, but we got a lot of people that they just don't like to see you doing it. And I think I know why, but I won't get into that. But yes, the concept of jealousy or just uh, is out there, and I think in many circles it's live and well. But I do also have to say that over the last few years, I've been seeing a real turnaround with the kind of people that I've been interfacing with, uh, and I think some of that has to do with many of them that I've been talking to now have have experienced uh, being taken down down the road, the primrose path of this is how you should automate. Uh, and so I see some light at the end of the tunnel. But to answer your question, yeah, I have I had to finally come to the conclusion that there was just people out there that just didn't want to see you do something for whatever reason.
Hmm. Now to my next question, now from the negative to the positive. How did it feel to get your first sale, that very first buy? How do you remember that day? Do you remember the second, the hour where you just saw that first sale? And if you do, how did it feel?
Well, we would be going back quite a bit for my very first sale, uh, but uh, but to be very candid with you, because there has not been a great abundance of them, I guess I pretty much remember them, and it's a good feeling of when you finally run into someone that sees the work that you put into it and recognize that yeah, it's a little different, but it's really valuable. And I say a little different because I took care in trying to design my software applications where it didn't take a rocket scientist to learn the software to be able to use it. I give an example of some of the major uh, bookkeeping software packages that are out there. One of the major problems is if you delve into them, you quite frankly, if you spend the time, you become an accountant and you become less of whatever you went into business for, because it takes all of that kind of energy to learn those kinds of systems, and
yeah,
it's not really necessary for a business person to know all the nuts and bolts about it. They just need to be able to quickly use it to as a tool. Computer software is really for the business person should be no more than a screwdriver. You know, a screwdriver is important when you need it, but when you don't need it, it's just sitting in the drawer. Software should be just like that for business. It should be, when you need it, it should be just the thing you need. But when you don't need it, it shouldn't be in your way of doing business. And I've tried to design applications to make it simple for the business person to use it, get the benefits of what automation can do, but not get trapped in, trying to learn something and figure out something that only just draws energy from what they went into business for.
So, and this is going to be my final question to you. 10 years from now, where do you see this business going?
Well, if you're talking, there's a lot of room for growth. I'll say that. I'm personally looking to find folks that see an opportunity and take the reins, because I don't mind sharing what I know. It's a lot, but it's a whole lot that could be done, especially if we begin to look inward just to our community. And I know I'm being kind of myopic with my thoughts, which is really business. That's really where I've been at for so many years. So everything I talk about is about trying to advance our community in terms of business, because I think business is a key pillar to us ultimately becoming an independent, productive people. Business is very important, and the reason how I'll say that, to stress the importance of it, is here in the city of Detroit. So many years ago, we were able to get the reins of the political establishment, and meaning that we got into the mayorships, we got into the council positions. We had all of those positions, but the city ended up going bankrupt. And the reason, from my perspective, that happened is because having the political clout is just part of the puzzle. We did not have financial clout. We did not have businesses that support that. So basically what happened is any services that the city offered, or in terms of contracts, they didn't even go to us. They went out. So eventually we just went bankrupt. And so that's my example of, if we don't have a strong business community that's dedicated to helping the community grow, not dedicated to line your pockets with money, but dedicated for the community to grow, then we'll be starting to do fine. We need both in terms of building this community back.
Okay. Oh, also, our other panelist has following around. Let me go ahead and add him in.
Open up the window from the fifth floor.
You know it. Hold on. Let me get him in. See, even off my little phone contraption, I can work a lot of things. Mayo, welcome to the show.
Hey, good evening, brothers and sisters. How you doing? Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
How y'all doing?
What's up with you, Mayo?
You already know, man. Just living, man.
Yeah, we are joined by Joe, who's in the show, teacher's guest. Do you have any questions that you have for this brother?
No, I mean, I want to hear more. Sorry about that. As Beast called me, bro, man. Bro, man, coming through the window. He want to find out what's going on.
Other than that, yeah. So Joe, for anybody who wants to look at this, his software and the services that he offers, the website is streaming at the bottom right now, servicestech.com. Go ahead and check it out. I just wish that I was on my computer, because I actually had everything saved to show his website and all that great stuff. Had everything saved, but things happen. But check out his website. I actually looked on it, and I was pretty impressed. And all the questions that Teach and Beast already asked is questions that I wanted to ask. So Good thing I still had three left that I wanted to ask you, Joe. But one thing that really, what got me was when you was talking about, the political climate in Detroit. Now, I was tracking that they went bankrupt, but I'm just taking aback where, because people will think just because you got the political pull and political power, that's everything. But like they always say, money, power, and respect. And if you're losing one of those, then you're not going to get too much done. So my question is, what is happening in Detroit that your business can help improve the community, or at least contribute to the community to push you in the right direction?
Well, there seems to be a resurgence of business associations, and I'm really referring now to Black business associations, where the businesses are kind of, I think, beginning to recognize again that unless we band together, we kind of going to get left by the wayside. An example, they've got the major Detroit Chamber of Commerce. Well, that's a big chamber, and from my understanding, I've never joined it, but I've looked at it from the outside in, and I didn't see much there for me, and mainly because they're looking, we just get marginalized in those bigger associations. We need to have our own, and once we've got them, then I have no problem with interacting with the major ones. But unless we have our own strong associations, we're going to miss out. But I see a resurgence of that happening here, where businesses are seeing the value of coming together and, quite frankly, doing business with each other. There's a lot of money to be made just doing business with each other, and it's what I call low-hanging fruit, because you don't have to when you're talking to your brother sitting next to him.
Preach.
You don't,
Preach.
you don't
Do anybody else got anything to?
Yeah.
How about you, Mayo?
Oh no, no. I mean, I'm listening. I really think that what I see in the background, you got a lot of electronics. So I mean, I was going to ask an electronic question, but I like what you guys are talking about when it comes to organizing. I worked previously for the National Association of Minority Contractors, and I even got a call from Cincinnati today from Macy's. Macy's they want to start feeling good about doing business with black contractors. So part of our job is to organize black contractors, or sorry, minority contractors, mainly blacks. But it's a 52-year organization that fought right next to the Black Panthers back in the days to make sure that where we have economical development in our community. So I know there used to be a NAMAC chapter in Detroit, but the chapter is shut down. So I don't mind being able to help start another chapter in Detroit, Southfield, Inkster area. But but there's a lot of things for us to do, again, I'm really just trying to, because I kind of and forgive me, I run around doing different businesses, so I ran in late today. So I'm really trying to find out all the areas in which we can connect, because there's always, every time I meet somebody, black, white, or whoever, I always try to figure out that there's some way that we can connect and we can work together. The more we work together, the better it is for us. The problem we've had in the past is that we've been more reluctant to work together than excited about it. And at this point, we talk about it, but I don't see us doing it enough. I don't see us working together enough. I don't see us building a big black network enough like we could and should. So how do we get there? So I mean, so that's what I want to. What you think about all that?
Was that question directed to me?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
yeah, I guess.
Usually general, but
I'm sorry.
go ahead, sir.
I'd love to. I to address that. Is what I was attempting to do was, local organizations, and as here in Detroit, I'm thinking about 3 or 4 of them that have been around, but they're beginning to be more active with themselves now, and I think would be the beginning of working together. What I ultimately hope is that that these several business associations find ways to merge and work with each other, because it's a big, we're not going to step on each other's toes. There's too much to be done out here, and too much business opportunity. So if we again put aside some of our egos, and kind of coalesce together, there's a lot we can do. But I see it starting, and that's the road I'm trying to take. I'm working with two or three of them now, trying to find ways to support them. And one of the ways I support them is just doing what I do, and I make it available to them, either free or at a price that they can afford to work with them.
Right.
One example, if I could give it, is in some of the software that I designed. I was designed an application that was really for between the doctor and his patient to do secure email back and forth between the doctor and the patient. But so I did develop that, but as it turned out, I could turn that same software around, and rather it be a one-on-one communication piece, I could open it up and let it be a master email and text messaging communication platform, where what I do for our small businesses here locally, I'll take their ad, whatever it is, put it into an email, and I take my database, which right now is a little over 11,000 locally here in Detroit, and I send that person's advertisement out to the general public. It's a way of advertisement, and that's something that I can offer, because that's something I already do. And so if each one of us begin to look at what we could do that doesn't take us really out of the lane of what we're already doing, we could put those little services together. We might find that we've got more than enough to make a dent in this world economy that's exploding right now.
I got two things that you said already that caught my attention. One is that you have 11,000 contacts of Detroiters in your database. That's big. I mean, I know a young brother who's running for Detroit City Council and trying to get all kind of help from me lately. And the other thing you talked about was just you said something about software and apps. I'm looking for somebody who's an app developer, because I got a business I'm trying to start up. There's an app-based business. So I mean, so it's just that's an example right there. Of how we can always connect. And everybody wins at the end of the day. So well, Sister Anita, well, I guess I want to respond to it, but but definitely, yeah. So definitely, I just want to find out more. So you do build apps, my brother?
No, I don't, and I don't work with when you say app. I assume you're talking about cell phone
Mobile.
applications. And
Yes, and you were going to touch on that a little bit as well, as the preference or the reason why you prefer to stick to more traditional business technology.
Yeah, and the reason behind that is that there needs to be a foundation for this whole communication piece. As an example, when you've got an app, as you know, and I've got a lot of people that always ask, can I make them an app? Well, there's kind of more to it than the app, because if you got an app, generally you've got to get it distributed before it is of any value. Everybody's got to have that on their cell phone. Now that means generally going back to Google Play Store or Amazon or Apple or somebody to get them to put that app on there. And there's a charge for that developers pay, especially if the app is good. There's a charge for it if it really does something. And so that money has to flow out. But initially, for that person who develops that app, the biggest thing is distribution. You got to get it to where it's going. And from my perspective, what I am building is a platform so that you can transfer that app data even without having to depend on the Google stores. an example. One of the things I'm working on right now to solidify it is with a payment structure where you don't have to, and this is for really be a dual purpose for those who've got a brick and mortar store that have people coming in and out and they want to pay with a credit card. Well, normally you've got a terminal there. That terminal will run you about $60 a month. They have that terminal for the credit card. But if you're doing 3 or 4 credit cards a month, you're paying $60 a month for something you're really not using. What I'm uh, designing is a way to not use to eliminate the terminal at all, and so that you can basically take a sale right on your computer screen, just like you would if you went to online and purchase something, so that the brick and mortar store can get rid of that cost that can be draining after a while. Uh, but even more important than that, that we need to have a communication, more control of that communication, not just at the end of it. And an app, if that's all you got, you're at the end of the chain, but you're dependent on everybody up the chain for your program to work. And as a business person, I just like to have a little bit more control over my good idea, because I can tell you that if you've got a good idea, an online idea, an app or something, maybe you've got some hot product that you're selling. Well, the way the world is today, there are those who are looking at just what you're doing. As you're electronically doing something, there's somebody sitting there watching it, right there on their screen, watching what you do. And if they determine that you got something great, they can set up very easily and just take that business, because you as a business person with that app, you don't see that sale until the person upstream tells you you made a sale. So you could get that sale could get hijacked 3 or 4 levels up, and you never even know someone actually asked for your product. Now, I know that's an extreme, but I want to just point that out, that that's the vulnerability that we have when we don't control enough of the supply chain. We need to have vertical markets where we can control that better. Uh, but that's why I work on the computer end, because I know we really need a platform to work with. You need to be, if you've got an app, it should actually be communicating back to your computer, directly back to your computer, that's sitting in your desk. And the technology is there for that to happen. You don't have to go through all these other ways, uh, but if you don't know that, you think that you got to have an app and you got to have it on the app store, and that doesn't have to be that way.
Well,
What I'm hearing from you is
can
like an
anybody hear
example of the.
me? Can
Yeah, we
anybody hear
can hear.
me?
I hear you now.
We
Okay.
hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I want to go back like 30 minutes ago. I've been trying
Oh,
to
I'm
get
sorry.
in.
Oh,
It's not you,
We
it's
well,
come on,
everybody
look, look,
else.
look. Look, we
Okay.
all having technical difficulties, even the hosts.
Yeah.
I'm even having
Okay.
technical difficulties.
Yeah.
so
Okay.
they don't want us.
I,
They don't want us to speak.
I want to go back to how small businesses, I really have been alarmed at the number of Black people who have not taken advantage of having their paperwork in order, for these small business loans. And from what I see how you can help the next person in business through your email and text message advertising. Like you said, for the city of Detroit, you have 11,000 in your server. Um, just think, what I'm seeing is if a person would do, say, the accounting software, and basically that's where small businesses get hit. And I appreciate what you said about this software, because I've looked into software and you have to take a degree to do that software, but you're trying to work your business, so you need something that's click 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 and done. um and this is what I believe that you're offering, software that is a tool that you can utilize and give you the things that you need in order to be successful in your business, but not tied down to it so that you're so into the software that you really forgot your business. And I can appreciate that. So my question is to tell us a little bit more about your bookkeeping or your accounting type software and how much it costs, and can it produce 1099s or W-2s? That is the major issue that I have seen with people that's afraid to go to take advantage of these loans, is that, oh, I don't have any W-2s, I don't have any 1099s, and I work for myself, I do a side hustle, but they don't have their paperwork, they don't have that accounting process. So tell us how you can help Pookie and Ray Ray get their business together.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of things. One is that uh, to use my application, the bookkeeping application, it's what I call a point of sale bookkeeping application. And there's basically two things that you, as the business owner or the user, whoever it is, has to do. And that is, one, whenever they make a sale, they need to use their computer screen to create the receipt, and that prints off for the client. That, once you know what you're doing, should take no more than 35, 40 seconds. So that's one thing you should do. The second thing that you have to do to make this viable is anytime you have an expense, you need to log that in, again, into the system. That, once you know what you're doing, should take no more than 35 or 40 seconds to put that in. So between those two things, if you do that every time you make a sale, every time you buy something for your business, at the end of the day, all you need to do is hit a button and it'll produce your profit and loss statement. And that's the tool that's really needed to share with these banks, that you've
Yes.
got an organized way and you could show them. And the key there is that it doesn't require that you uh, spend a lot of time doing what you don't want to do. I don't know anybody, any business person that grudges creating a receipt when he sold a product. He loves it. He doesn't mind doing that paperwork. So that's how it's designed to, when you make a sale, then you take the 30, 40 minutes effort and it'll allow you to give that client a receipt, but also capture that sale. Uh, and so those are the only two things that need to be done. But in addition to that, there's a lot of other features that you can get. As an example, when you sell that product or service, generally, you want a repeat sale on that. But in the course of doing business, you don't remember that you sold Mary, something 3 months ago, and they need it again, but you don't. That is not on your mind. But you can have the quick and easy application tell you 3 months later. It'll just beep and tell you, hey, Mary ordered this product, engage with her again. And you can do that either through a built-in email or text messaging that's right into the system. So you can send out a text message, from your system to that person. So those are little added features that we put in to try to make it more usable for our business folks. And the other thing is the software applications need to be simple enough so that you're not held hostage really to your employees as you get more employees.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you've got one of these major bookkeeping systems going, that employee is, he's got you by the thumbs because you can't afford to lose him because you don't know how to run the program, and it took him 6 months or more to learn it. You don't have time to retrain somebody else. So you
Right.
need a
Yeah.
system that you can retrain them right quick because it doesn't take much to do, and it allows you to not forget so much because it's not that much you have to relearn if you do have to train someone. The burden of that is lightened quite a bit.
Okay.
Right.
So like Beast Johnson, he's an artist. Um and he just produced an album, but they call it something else. So I would need him to tell you that. But as he makes his sales and books his concerts and things like that, how
Mhm.
could he use a person like that? How could they utilize your software?
Well, I tried to make the application generic so that it could accommodate um, a lot of different kinds of functions that different businesses might have. Obviously, there's no such thing as one size fits all for everything,
Right.
but the system is designed where it can keep track of your, whether you call them your customers or whether you call them your members or whether you call them your parishioners. You know, it allows, the system allows you to keep track of individuals. If money is being transferred, this system could work for you. And the bonus to that is, once a person has the system, if they see some things that could enhance it, because they get a chance to now talk to the developer and say, hey, I need this in there as well. I could use this. Versus you certainly won't go back to Microsoft and tell them, well, I need this. Then you're not even going to get to the right person, much less get it done. So
So you offer personal service along
well,
with your
yeah,
programming.
I certainly offer personal service. But custom software development, I have to say that with, I will do those additional things if it makes sense to be in the package in general, meaning that something that we can put in maybe that only you want, but if it's something that we can integrate so that it doesn't distract and make someone else do things that they don't want to do, if we can integrate it that way, we can put it in. If it's something that's going to disrupt the normal flow, then I would tell you that that's something that we couldn't do at that level, not put it into that package.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna have to go ahead and intervene. We're at the top of the hour, so we're gonna have everybody get back to their corners, and we're gonna take a commercial break, and we will be right back.
Okay.
Okay. We good?
Apologies about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm working this all on my phone. So first and foremost, if everything was working correctly, that would have been the opening start of the show. We lost a legend today, Paul Mooney, comedian, writer, actor, father of two. I teach
We lost.
Mayo,
We
Beast,
lost two.
Joe.
We lost two comedic legends. We lost him, and for '80s babies like myself, they remember the family-friendly movies. Beethoven, Charles Grubin, the father that played in those movies, also died as well.
Oh wow.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that one.
No, not me either. But yeah, Paul Mooney really does hit real hard for me because everybody gonna remember him. Well, this this generation gonna remember him from the Dave Chappelle show, Ask a Black Dude,
Nicodamus.
and Negrodamus. And so, but then for old cats, they remember him from working with Richard Pryor. Remember him for working on lots of movies and also his stand-up. And one thing I can describe Paul Mooney in this sense is, he's saying all the things I want to say, but he can say it was a person. And Paul Mooney, one thing you can say, he always kept it real. He even had white folks just trembling like, should I laugh or should I not? And all that stuff. That's one thing that I can take away from Paul Mooney. He was the one that really brought like what's actually happening and make it funny but serious at the same time. But do anybody else have anything to share on Paul Mooney before we continue on?
Because of Paul Mooney's passing, I just want everybody to check out Marsha Wakefield. Check on her. I know it may sound funny, but he came from a great class of comedians and legends. Paul Mooney is the reason why we had Richard Pryor, the reason why we had Robin Williams, the reason why we had Billy Crystal, the reason why we had Pops, John Williams.
Mm-hmm.
This was a true legend and an icon for Black people, period, as well as for America, as well as for comedy. Truly be missed.
I would just like to say, may he rest in power. We have his legacy to remind us of how great he was, and his legacy indeed will continue to live on.
Okay. Anything to add, Joe?
No, I was sitting there thinking that about this show. But first of all, let me just say that I did not know. I had not even heard of him. I heard of Richard Pryor. I've heard of Dave Chappelle, but I had not heard of him. And that's an example of how many people can miss out on things. But what I really want to say is the importance of shows like this to be able to articulate and bring forward these kinds of accolades to people that we all do need to know. But we need more forums such as this, and so his passing certainly allows me to see that I missed some things, but equally important, it shows the importance of communication pieces like this and us totally involved in making it happen, so that we can tell our story, because it's not always going to get told by other folks, and it's certainly not going to get told accurately. So kudos to this program, and we just need more of it.
Appreciate that. Thank you. But once again,
So
go ahead, Mayo.
no, I know it's one of those things that one has to just be when we want to check somebody's blackness, and I say that in a joking way because I despise when we check each other's blackness or whatever. But if you was to be actually checking somebody's blackness, is to say that you cannot feel bad about Paul Mooney's passing, because he was a true black man that was not afraid to be a black man, and he put all that in comedy, and he was unabashed, unafraid. He was the one that, and he was so funny that you always roll off your chair every time he says something. He was not afraid to use the words that he would use, which many words that come through our minds, and we were just like, okay, well, mom and dad taught me not to say those words in public, but Paul Mooney be like, I'm gonna let y'all know exactly how we feel, and I'm gonna say it the way it is. I remember the first time I saw him as a guest on one of those late night shows. I'm like, who is this brother, man? He is wild. But I love, the wildness is one that it's filled with authenticity. So, so I just, it's sad to see, but that's the cycle of life and the agony of life. We all gonna go someday, and hope we rest in heaven. I hope we rest in peace wherever good souls go. I hope that he's chauffeured in there today. So thanks so much, y'all.
Yeah.
His work was well received and well done.
Most definitely. And behalf on everybody here from hashtag Fade the Black, our hearts and our condolences and positive vibes goes out to his family or anybody who's been affected by Paul Mooney's passing. May he do rest in power, and that his accomplishments and his legacy will not be forgotten, and it's actually opened doors like Eddie Murphy's of the world, or the Bernie Macs of the world. If Bernie Mac was still here, may he rest in power as well. I guarantee you, he got some of his material from Paul Mooney. I don't think any comedian who knew about him can't say that they didn't learn anything from Paul Mooney. And it's funny that Joe said that he just, learned about him now, because Paul Mooney always lived in his career of being a writer and being behind the scenes, but his work was so respected that there are times where he had to take the forefront and be like, yeah, that's me. Well, I'm not using N-word, but you know what I mean. He said, yeah, I'm here. I did that.
Everybody want to be one till it's time to be one.
Yeah. So let's get back to the topic at hand. Teach, I believe that you had something else that you wanted to ask of Joe about musically with Beast, with what his software can do for Beast's lane.
Well, yeah, I think he answered it before we went on the break as to how the software that he has can fit the small business person, regardless of the type of business that it is. And but it did spur another question for me. I have a nonprofit, so it will allow me to have a donor list and remind them your dues are due. So that tidbit, further convinced me that I should actually purchase his software for my nonprofit, because we are membership based, and the reminder feature is something that we need, that can go out to our members and say, hey, it's the first of the month. And we need your money.
I like Mr. Williams' designs, because what I gathered from his explanations was developing app-based technology for business machines, and really just consolidating the amount of hardware you will really need. Because I used the example of the brick and mortar, instead of actually having the cash register and have to pay that dude that rent on the credit card scanner, you could do it all from your desktop. That's basic applications. You just don't need your phone. Because what he's basically saying is the app is not the end all be all. It's merely the last thing, or the last step. You can have the app, but if you don't know how to operate a fax machine or make copies, how you going to do your paperwork? How you going to make sure your paperwork is straight? You still need to be knowledgeable of these set in place items and set in place structures. He's just helping you, helping you shorten the amount of actual studying you got to do. Like you said, spend more time actually being a business owner than looking at QuickBooks and trying to figure out how to operate it right so you don't get out of it next year.
Or taking a class to learn QuickBooks before you can even before you can even set it up. I have another question. With your fee, I know with the software that I have, it used to be that I pay for it, and every year I get an update, especially on the taxes. I get an update, and it was free until this year. Now this year I have to pay for the update. So how if I purchase this package from you, what can I expect?
Well, when you mention update, I guess it all depends. As an example, if you were talking about an update for the schedule for, let's say, for payroll, the payroll schedule, that would not even come to play with the QuickBook, the Quick and Easy that I have. Although I do have another application that I do want to add on to that for those who might need it, which is a complete payroll package, meaning that the way that would work. Well, let me answer your question first. The short answer is there's no subscription fees that you have to pay for the application. It's a one-time fee, and one of the major differences is with the major applications out there that's online, you pay a monthly fee every month, so you never get through paying.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Right.
you do stop paying,
Nope.
you
You
just
don't have
lost
their
everything.
service.
You don't. Not only do you not have the service, you don't even have your backup stuff if you didn't take it down first.
Right.
With the Quick and Easy application, everything is on your computer. If you get mad at me tomorrow, well, you just be mad at me, but you still have your data. You have everything, and your books will still work. I don't have any control over that. Once you get the application, it's your application.
Okay. So this is really an advantage for small. Pookie and Ray Ray got a side hustle, but
Yes.
need to show some legitimacy. This is the software that you need in order to satisfy yourself and the IRS so you can take advantage. Because I just feel like so many people who just simply did not take this step, they don't know how valuable this one piece of information is or service to their business. And especially if you can purchase it one time and every year, I mean, there's no renewal fees, you'll always have your information. So, God forbid if we have another pandemic and they open up any other benefits or even beyond, you have the paperwork to substantiate your business. I just can't emphasize that enough. I remember when they first announced that first stimulus package, and big companies were getting $26 million and $30 million, and the small business people were left out because they didn't have their business papers in order. And I just recently went through the process, and this is what they ask you: the name of your business, the address of your business, the tax ID number of your business, how long you've been in business, or are you going into business, your business bank account number, and routing number. And so many African Americans were just couldn't put that information down. They couldn't put it down because they didn't have it. They didn't have their 1099s. They didn't have their W-2s. They're self-employed, but they never took the time to establish themselves in this paperwork format or electronic format, actually, that can be printed out in
Turbo.
paper.
Yep.
They just failed to
DocuSign
do
and
that.
TurboTax.
So this is very, very important service that he's offering for that small business person that can't pay the monthly fees for this super software that you really have to take a course and get a certificate in before you're able to use it. You have defeated your whole purpose of being a small business. Small business mean that you are small. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is a very vital part, and I appreciate your work and service. And I believe when you made the statement about the political power that we gained here in the city of Detroit, but we lost it because we didn't have your application to legitimize us. And actual, you know what? This piece of paper is nothing but a piece of paper. But if this paper had all of this pertinent information on it, this legitimizes me with the federal government. And guess what? It gives me confidence to go to the city and say, hey, I'm putting a bid in on this particular service. So without this piece of paper, many businesses are losing out because they don't have the confidence, which is simply putting your business in order on paper electronically and having it available to the issuing authorities, whoever they may be it local, be it state, be it national or federal.
Well, the only thing I could say to that, Anita, is that I need to hire you as my marketing person because you know how to do it. But
Hey,
with that,
that's why we have the show to bring people together, to build black business, to build the black industry.
and there's so many opportunities. I'll just, and I hope you don't think I'm self-serving, but I just mention this because you guys are here. In terms of opportunities, if we could all figure out ways to come together. As an example, what I'm doing here locally with that e-blast service, which I really think is a good tool to help our small businesses get their name out and
Yes,
affordably,
yes,
because
yes.
that's really the key. Uh, but not only is that needed in Detroit, it's needed in every one of our communities across the country. And that in itself presents in my mind, a tremendous opportunity. And I'm open and willing to work with people to set this kind of thing up all around the country. Because what most of our small businesses need is access to the people in their community. The internet is a great thing, but generally most of us are not. If I'm in Detroit, I'm not really doing business in California for the most part. My particular business could do that, but most people have businesses that serve the local community. So although the internet is vast and wide, what you need is something targeted to your community to be able to get to those people in your community.
Mhm.
And this particular tool could help do that. And to me, I see potentially tremendous opportunities for other folks to be a part of that, working just in the communities that they might want to work in. So that's just one thing I'm throwing out there that certainly if anybody wants to talk more about it, I'm happy to talk about it because I
Oh,
think
of course.
it's something that we could use to help build ourselves.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm persuaded. I'm getting ready to relaunch my brand, and I'm definitely going to need your service because although I am in Detroit, since I've been here, I have not circulated, and people don't know who I am, and I don't know who they are. But if you ask Mayo or anybody in Columbus, Ohio, they know who I am. In um
Yeah,
in
include me.
Kentucky, in Kentucky, they know who I am, but
Ask
in
about me.
Detroit, but in
Ask about me
Detroit,
now.
And Big Johnson is known worldwide, globally, but good. I mean, music wise,
I mean,
um,
seriously, I have built reputations in many cities. If you go as far as way Tanzania, say Anita's name, they know who I am. You go to
Oh, Anita,
Cameroon, they
Anita,
know
teach.
who I am.
Oh, yes, we
Yes,
don't teach.
but Detroit is like, who is she? Where'd she come from?
this but I need a baker. No, no,
Right, exactly.
The little
look,
cousin, the little
look.
sister.
Exactly.
Here's the
So
crazy thing. Yeah. Crazy. I'm sorry, Cheese. Go ahead.
I want to utilize your text and email blast to make awareness in the city of Detroit. But once we cover Detroit, I do want it to go the 50 states if possible, because there's people that need my message, people that need my services, and I need to reach them. We need to come and meet in the middle. So I absolutely see the need and viability of this service for me. Mayo just talked about someone running for the city council in Detroit. They need your services to get his message out. So on this platform, this is what we're controlling the narrative. We're controlling the
Yes.
future. We're controlling how we do business with one another. We're believing one another. We're providing services for one another, and we're pushing each other forward. And this is the only way that we can go forward is that we bring you on the show. We expose what you're capable of doing, and we ourselves join in to have it done. That's it.
You know what else we offer as well, teach? He's offering legitimacy because
Yes.
in the regards to the e-blast, as an independent artist, I get indoctrinated constantly with emails. In fact, I literally just had a conversation with the individual over Instagram charging $50. This is the stipulations. $50 for 10,000 followers and a blue Instagram verified badge on my page. I'm like, okay, whatever. Then he proceeds to go on my page while communicating with me and adds a whole bunch of couple hundred folk there just to show me, yeah, I'm serious, I can do this. But then I do a little digging myself and I go and look at each one of these pages because it's like 30 of them that popped up in less than 5 minutes. They're all bots. For those who don't know what bots are, they're pretty much fake pages. They got some random picture. They have a couple hundred followers and followings, but they have no pictures themselves. How you gonna have 1,000 followers and you ain't got 0 pictures on Instagram? So what this man here is offering is secure legitimacy. You're not communicating with bots or fake pages. He's communicating with real businesses. So if he shouts your stuff out, it's real businesses that are being connected and being contacted, not bots and fake pages and facsimiles to give the appearance. He's not giving you the appearance. He's giving you the legitimacy that your business and your endeavor deserves.
You know,
not
I'm
the
gonna
appearance.
go
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go straight to the point. I'm sorry to not cut you off. Look, finally, I got something that works on my tablet. But I'm just gonna go straight to the point. It's good to see a brother having a business like this. Period. You know, anytime when you think of a business like this, you always put a white face on it, you know, or a corporation or a conglomerate. To me, it is great to see somebody that looked like us, and not only looked like us, but an elder. That when you realize that, oh snap, this man, like if a young cat like me would see somebody that, like Joe, who did basically everything. The software now, it has, you had to have somebody white help you out, you know, and that is one of the most saddest things about our generation, where we can't look at our own and be like, majority of the stuff that we have, there was somebody that looked like you. And then what makes my heart even pounce even more, he's an elder who is like, for me, you on a whole nother like stratosphere to me. After, you know, you explain your business and all that stuff, you're on a whole nother stratosphere, because all the things that you work with, your whole entire business model is geared more to somebody like around my age to get started. But for you at your age, doing it right there, just we got 2 sponsors that are black owned. Real Child Boy Popcorn is here, and to see a brother and his wife, who was also a guest on the show, to start a business, I almost bring a tear to my eyes. You know, having a black establishment, you know, started from the ground level, built the foundation, and built upon that foundation. And on this show, we talked about it, that we're going to highlight and spotlight businesses that when we hear it, we always put a white face on it. But here, we're going to be like, no, we got a brother that's doing this. We got a sister that got business just like this and doing the damn thing, excuse my language, that is doing it. And I say that because, you know, it's the passion that comes behind it. and the struggles and the sweat and the tears. And our own people don't realize that there's a lot of Joe Williams out there that got businesses that you will see on television, that you will see up in like I said, I'm not too far away from Seattle, that you see in Seattle that is widely known, but they will pass by the Joe Williams businesses that is problem and don't have, and that's why I'm happy and I want to thank Teach for having you on the show. And like I tell any guest that come on the show, you are welcome anytime on this show. But I want to say it is great to have a brother to have a business like this, to show that it's not only just white people doing it. We're doing it too. And here's the proof. And Joe, you should be taking a bow right now, sir. You should be taking a bow because it is great to see that. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I was just saying I appreciate what you're saying. Unfortunately, if that means all this that you're laying on me, I'm gonna have to get a bigger hat because my head is swelling as we talk.
You and guess what? And guess what? And you and Joe, you deserve it. You deserve it. You know, people always want to say that ego is a bad thing, you know, and at times it is. But then there's times where people do need that, you know, that pat on the back, that, you know, I appreciate you, and not only just mentioning with their words, actually buying the software or business. If you were having a coffee shop, why are you going to question what type of coffee, the prices, and all that stuff? You don't do it at Starbucks. You know what I mean? Why should I do it with you? You know, with your software business, and then not to mention, this is Microsoft country out here. I'm not gonna go in the Microsoft store and just gonna be questioning their laptops like, yo, like your Surface, like why your Surface costs as much. If I'm not giving those same questions to them, but I'm gonna sit there and pose that same question to you, that ain't right. That's not right. I should have the same exact energy. You know, I should just walk into, let's say if you have a shop, I should walk into your shop just the same way I walk into a Microsoft shop. So Joe, yes, your ego should be pumped on 10 times 100. And I know that you're in your lane. Somebody's probably gonna watch this and doing the same thing as you and saying like, okay, I'm not the only one. Now Joe opened that door for me to show my business. Hey, I'm in this business too. Doors, my people, we can do this. We don't even have to be in competition with each other. We can do this together. It's something you can offer to a table that I'm not offering, or something you can learn from me that I can help you with. And once again, Joe, you should take a bow for that.
Well, again, I thank you. Really, I also thank you because you know it's encouragement. This younger generation is been the encouragement for me because as our conversation first started, you asked about the haters that were out there, and they were many. But as I was saying that, and I didn't say it this way, but as the younger generation has come in, beginning to really get some understanding, and I'm talking about the technical thing arena here, getting some understanding on how these things really work. People begin to, like yourself, open up and say, well, yeah, I understand the complexity. Let me figure out a way that I can help or be a part of that in some way. So you guys are really an encouragement to me that I'm finally seeing it happening. Uh, and what I guess I want to do at this point is be in a position to say, hey, there's a whole lot on the table that I'd like to share with somebody if they got a way to move it forward, because there's a lot that could be accomplished, and if we work together we could do many things. And I always say this to people in talking. I said, there's one thing, tell me one thing that the majority of, and I'll just say black folks have right now. What is the majority product that they have right now that you can think of?
Shea butter.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Well, I'll just say this. Everybody and their brother and sisters got one.
Oh yeah.
What if,
That's true. That's true.
what if we found a way to mentally come together, and you don't have to, all we would need to do would be to open up a cell phone store. If everybody bought their system from you, we would be out of poverty overnight. Just and you can't say, well, I don't use that. Even the haters gotta admit they got a phone. And if we would just find a way to get all the minutia out the way, we could finance ourselves so that we could do things that we need to do. Business ain't the only thing we need to do. It's a small part, but it does many times take dollars to do all these other things we want to do. We could turn our community around overnight. I say this, that in our community, we always know when we get in it, because just as soon as we get in it, trash everywhere. I just have to say that we could begin to pay, if we had the money, pay these guys that ain't doing nothing and halfway putting that stuff down there. We could. It's just so many things we could do. I guess I'm getting a little excited, but I just know that there's a lot we could do if we could just figure out a way to come together a bit. And it looks like my son must have made it in. I see his name up there.
Okay, thank you. Because I was
Absolutely.
I was a little confused at first. I'm like, did he just comment on his
Right.
own
Me
rap
too.
while he was
I
Right.
was
like
doing the
did he
same thing
comment
too.
while
Oh, is
he
that
was
a
talking?
comment that?
Like
Okay.
I ain't see his hands move. That's smooth right there.
I was like, hold up, wait a minute. You speaking of
I'm like,
bot,
that's a first.
like Joe, you a bot?
Like, that's a
It's
first.
okay.
I'm
You
gonna
gotta be a
comment
part
while
of
I'm
this, though.
talking. They gonna know what I'm saying is facts.
It's okay. It's
I'm
okay to
about
be
to
a
say,
part
I'm
of this,
gonna
though.
try that.
Uh, absolutely. We asked Joseph Williams Senior, I mean Junior, to go ahead and make sure you share this program out to all of your Facebook
Yes.
friends and share it out so we can get a broader view, and like the page as well, the group page. But Joe, this is your first time on our show. We definitely want you to come back. But what you said is something that all of us have said throughout the duration of the show, is that we can put the youth to work. We can get the youth, we can create summer jobs for them in cleaning up our neighborhoods block by block, mowing the lawns, putting down flowers, painting houses that need some paint. We can put some people, we can put our youth to work. We can give them a sense of ownership. This is my block. And this is one of the things that I experienced when I was in Columbus, Ohio. I worked for Columbus State um, University, and I had a dual enrollment class where I went into the neighborhood high school of Bexley. Now, Bexley is 2 miles long and 2 miles wide. It's an old established Jewish community. They have one elementary school, one middle school, and one high school. And I witnessed ownership for the first time. I was in my 50s when I went to this school, and the way they showed ownership was basically it was their community, it was their school. Most of the principal went there as a child. most of the children there was, fourth, fifth, sixth generation. Some of the teachers had taught their grandparents, their parents, and now teaching themselves. So it was like a cycle over and over again. The child was a product of that environment, and that environment was a product of the people. And any problem came up, it was their problem. It wasn't somebody else's problem to fix. And they had it in a way that I've never seen it expressed in a neighborhood. It was their neighborhood. Whatever happened at the school, everybody in the neighborhood knew about it. Whatever happened in the neighborhood, everybody at school knew about it, because everybody knows everybody for generations, not just that one generation. And so that close knit environment really taught me something about ownership, and how you belong to something, and everything that happens is personal. It's not like, oh, those kids over there, blah, blah, blah. No, it's like, oh, my kids over here did what? Everybody was connected. And that's something that I hope that we can create within our community, that sense of unity. Well, not so much unity, but that ownership. This is mine. This is my school. And having pride in being in some form or fashion connected with that school. And if we did this in business, we could grow by leaps and bounds. And we are doing this in our scope. Some of us are local and some of us are international. And one of the ladies that I deal with, Kim Poole, she's doing it internationally and bringing artists on board, bringing the government together to agree with the program of the artists, to advocate for social change through the forms of art. And we're taking ownership one by one, step by step. And this is the only way that we as a collective can grow and glow empowered. You have a business. You talked about the young people, but I want to urge you to get in contact with the business colleges around Detroit and get some interns that you can turn over. Well, not turn over, but train them. Get somebody in the marketing department that will market your business so your business can grow. So this model won't cease with you, but after you're gone, you'll have those that will come after you that will continue it. And this is what we must do. This is absolutely what we must do. We have to create ways for ourselves. We can't look outside of ourselves for help. We are our own saviors. We save ourselves. Anita saves herself. Donnell saves himself. Joe saves himself. Collectively, we save ourselves. And that's where the true power is. When we recognize the power that we have and we utilize the amenities or opportunities around us to make things happen. If you link up with 2 or 3 colleges or universities and get interns coming in every semester, you need a marketing intern, somebody that's going to push your business out there. You need the technical intern that's going to learn to do what you do. And and whatever else kind of intern. You need them, they need you. They can help build your business and take it to the next level. You're planting the seed in the youth, and they're gathering the wisdom from the elder. And this is our circle of life. This is our power, and we have to take advantage of it.
Mm. Once again, teach. You can feel it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Monday she did again. Feeling it. Power. That's power. Mm. And with that, once again, Joe, thank you for being a part of the show. The door is always open. The invitation is always there. So we don't want you to leave just yet, because now we getting into the part of the shows where we got the segments, where we got one segment where we travel to Africa with our guide Teach. Then also we got the community, Beast community, as we travel to a community where he give us the word on the street, and as well as our very new segment as we gonna, enjoy the nice blues and sounds of from Mayo's Lounge. So we want you to stay tuned and enjoy the segments as well as myself and everybody else who is watching the show. But
real quick, I could jump in real quick.
Yeah, go ahead,
I want to ask one question before we leave this this topic that we've been talking about all day. And I think we talked about the issue. I just not the issue about the topic, but I didn't know if I get it clear. So right now what Mr. Williams, Brother Williams is working on, does that have? I'm assuming it doesn't have a political component to it. Are you open to building a political component to where, the biggest thing that you said you had 11,000 contacts in Detroit, of Detroiters, and as much as I know people that live in Detroit, I frequent Detroit for the last 2.5 years a lot, I just feel like that one thing they can use is a new political structure where the grassroots are getting a chance to re-elect the elected officials, the ones that have the good intentions, or better intentions, I should say. So has that been something that's crossed your mind? Is there something that's I guess I wanted to make sure I get that clear. Can you want to use this application strictly for that?
Yeah, that has crossed my mind in the past. I had not tried to make any really directions toward that. A few people that I, have crossed paths, thought that might be an interesting concept to get to the people. But again, I really didn't try to pursue that. I certainly would be interested in working with someone that potentially had an interest in that particular arena, and see what we could do, put our heads together and see, because I think it could explode. I think it's a tool that could be used among other tools, but I think it's a tool that puts affordability back into getting the word out as it relates to campaigning. So I would love, if you have interest, I would love to talk with you further regarding that.
Absolutely. I'll make sure I put my information in the contact in the chat.
Yeah, and I as well will do that.
Cool. And with that being said, we're going to start off by taking a visit to Beast community. Beast, what you got on tap for us?
Not quite sure. I'm gonna figure it up as I go.
All right, cool. Then after Beast community, then we're gonna head to Mayo's Lounge, and then after Mayo's Lounge, we're gonna get our passport and we're gonna head to Africa. But for right now, it's time for us to get Joe, get in the back, Teach, pass your side, Mayo. You know what to do. Get on the other side too, and we about to head to Beast community.
Since we didn't get a real chance to speak on the plight in Gaza with Palestinians, I would like to make that my topic and just ask a simple question. For those of you out there that feel as though is not your concern or is not fall on your list of cares, I ask you the question, why should we care about George Floyd? Why did we care about Sandra Bland, Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Sean Bell, Emmett Till? Can I keep going on? Do I have to? Why do y'all care about them? With the exception of our panelist, Brother Seathway, I don't know of anybody that's personally connected to these individuals. So why should I care? Because this is what y'all say when it comes to folk overseas. But yet you will show love for somebody that doesn't live in your community. So what's the difference? The same shit that's going on 2 states over is the same that's going on across the sea. So why should your empathy be choice? Why should you be, basically what I'm trying to ask is, what's the difference? And it's hard for me to ask that question because the answer is there is no difference. The concerns of one community can affect all the communities, especially if they're allowed to get out of hand. If my neighborhood is safe, we all check on each other. We all make sure we do our due diligence. But about 3 blocks up the street around the corner, there's another community that's being plagued with vandalism and random break-ins. Is that my concern? No, not really, because it ain't in my hood. But what happens if it happens in my hood? Do I now get proud and indignant and expect the other folk up the street to feel sympathy for me when I ain't feel no sympathy for them? I put that in the global sense. If we don't sit here and be concerned with our brethren across the seas, why do you expect our brethren across the seas to care about us? Like T said earlier, in order to give, you got to receive. In order to receive, you got to give. It's a two-way street with everything. We care because we know this has happened here, or it can happen here, or will happen again. So maybe if we help these folk over here get their stuff in order, and get their community back right, oh, please believe they'll be mindful to extend the same help if our time comes up. That's how allies are made. That's how alliances are set. But if you don't care about what's happening somewhere else, don't expect nobody to care about what's going on where you at. We gotta forget, just because we're local doesn't mean we're the only ones experiencing strife or tragedy. It happens every day. Sometimes at the exact same time, at the exact moment you catching hell, somebody in Baghdad is catching hell. You might be on the 7, they might be on the 9, but at that very moment in time, both of y'all is going through it. Don't you think both of y'all could use a little support and love? Don't you think both of y'all could use a little concern from the other party, whether y'all know of each other's existence or not? Come on now, people. If you're going to do it locally, you got to do it globally. It's just common sense. And on that rant, I hope y'all enjoyed coming by the community. Hope you learn a little bit something about yourselves and learn how to handle life a little bit better. Feel free to come on back anytime. But for right now, we about to head overseas. So teach, if you will.
Yes. I'm glad that we I had everything set up, so I just hit the wrong button as I try to catch myself here. But so anyway, so I wanted to tune us in and get us in with my normally what I normally do is I find a song, a blues song or maybe a soul song that can play in the background, and I had it queued up, but it kind of just left right now. But there's two things I was going to talk about tonight, and I'm glad that the first thing I was going to talk about beats kind of jumped on it, and so I guess great minds think alike, and the second one. The first one is actually kind of about the Palestine issue, old folks in Gaza. We the one thing that rings in my mind as a young man growing up and studying people like Dr. King, Malcolm X, and everybody else is the injustice is anywhere the threat to justice everywhere. So that's Dr. King's quote, and it's something that I just feel like we should never forget. It's if it's ever been real, this is the realest it can ever be. To us, we can't continue to say that things that happen domestically here that we hate that we don't want to see happen, and not speak out for others who are dealing with similar situation, and that's what the situation is with folks out there. So for me, my plea to everybody is that that we do our part, our share, in speaking up. There are things you can do. People think there's nothing they can do. There are things you can do. I don't think most people think that it doesn't bother them. Some people think it doesn't bother them, but the most part think it bothers them. But the problem that I think people have is this mindset of what am I gonna do? The defeatism mindset of there's nothing I can do type deal. There's a lot we can do. Call your elected officials, your congressional members. They're on the federal level. Call them and tell them that this is how you feel. You want them to speak about the freedom of folks in Gaza, the freedom of the Palestinians, the encroachment on their land that you don't support it. Call and say all that. So that's the first part of what I got to say. Don't forget, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So then the second part is and it's as we talked about Paul Morning today, it's a bigger type feeling. There's similar there, but just so deep every time today comes around, I feel like, man, I wish I could still give this brother a hug, man. It's a brother I love from the moment I know about him. Brother Malcolm X, Malik Shabazz. Today is his birthday. Man, brother Malcolm, man, I love you so much. I never met you, but I feel like I met you. Through just life. Through being able to see, one can feel the spirit and the brother, just by hearing the stories and the times when he could have easily fell to temptation, but he decided to grab the hands of integrity and say, I'm gonna get up through integrity. So Malcolm, we love you so much. We'll love you forever. We will continue to grow and live through your spirit. So yeah, happy birthday to brother Malcolm. They can take your body, but they can't take your spirit from us. And I live it at that. And again, members only. That's what we're gonna be. That's what the whole thing is gonna be about. This you in our lounge, it's members only in this lounge. So if you do, if you're a soul blues lover, welcome. You part of the membership. We only know membership fees or whatever. Your fees is knowing that you know the struggle and you know what's going on, and you want to make sure that we can all find a way to solve the struggle together and embrace each other. So members only, Bobby Blue Bland. I listen to Bobby Blue Bland a lot. I'm a blues man. I'm a soul man. So that's how we're rocking it today. Bobby Blue Bland, members only. So if you get a chance, play it over there because I can't play the whole thing right now because I'm about to get off my segment. But much love to y'all. Stay loving. I'm back. How y'all want to list them on some more members only here?
Okay, we've been having such technical difficulties, but nevertheless, Karibu, welcome. in the voices of the Kiswahili speaking people of Tanzania. You know, we have the Summer Learning Institute that's going to take place at the Tsuba University in Bagamoyo, Tanzania from June the 7th until June the 21st. It's our very first Summer Institute. Right now, we have over 40 students registered from Tsuba University and also Makero that's in Arusha. But what we really want, we want you. We want the American students. And it's not just students, but people of their craft, professors, scholars, artists, artisans, entertainers, because you can add value to this institute where we're teaching, taking that artist, that performer, and teaching them the business end and business aspect of your art. So we need you from the United States to come and participate in the Summer Learning Institute. And when we're not in class, we will actually tour around Tanzania. And I just queued, and I don't know because of the technical difficulties if you're able to see this video when I was last in Tanzania. So, okay, it's playing. All right, there you go.
He told me it was a machine of the fire, but who told you about this?
So just to give you some background, we were at Metataruni, which is the village right before the trail
So we're gonna do
for
like this.
Mount
This is the action.
Kilimanjaro.
We call it Twanga. Can you say Twanga, guys? Twanga again. Twanga. Yeah. So we have a motivation song we sing to motivating us. You're gonna say Twanga. When we sing, you reply Twanga. Take picture, take video. Hakuna matata. You will do it. Okay. Twanga, wewe Twanga. Twanga. Twanga, sema Twanga. Twanga. Gaborai Twanga. Twanga. Twanga naga hawa. Twanga. Twanga na migomba. Twanga. Twanga na Tanzania. Twanga. Twanga wewe. Twanga. Twanga. Twanga brotherhood. Twanga. Twanga na Tanzania. Twanga. Twanga na Tanzania. Twanga. Twanga na Kilimanjaro. Twanga. Twanga na Tanzania. Twanga. Twanga na Kofi. Twanga. Twanga na Kofi. Twanga. Twanga, 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 nini, twanga, 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 nini, twanga, 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 nini, twanga, twanga, ema, twanga, 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 mani, twanga, 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 meki, twanga, I look away. Nayo meru, nayo meru, nayo meru, nayo meru, limambe kusana. Iotai, 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 happy na Tanzania, happy whatever the world, happy happy local barista, happy
Sirun. Happy, happy na local lunch. Happy, happy, busy, happy, happy banana, happy banana, wine, happy banana, happy Rasta man, happy bomb. Happy making coffee, happy local, happy Germany, happy man, happy na Serengeti, happy Kilimanjaro, happy
All right. So what you were witnessing, we were on a coffee plantation and we were actually breaking up the kernel off of the coffee. And the thing that I want to if you would notice, is that energy that they have to do their work. They sing while they work, and that really helps move the process along. But this is the Arabica coffee. And I'm not a big coffee drinker, but after going through the whole process of picking the coffee, they showed us the dried coffee. We, like I said, we broke the kernels off of the coffee. Then the next step is to separate the kernels from the coffee beans. Then they roast the coffee beans, and then they grind the coffee. And my God, that is the best tasting coffee that you could ever taste. You're talking about fresh coffee. And actually, I have coffee. If you would contact me on the African Roots and Heritage Study Travel and give a donation to the African Roots and Heritage Foundation, we can get you a bag of this Tanzania Arabica coffee. And that will be it for my segment. I hope you enjoyed it. But there's still a chance. We're 3 weeks away from departure. If you're really moved and motivated and want to participate in some of the activities that we participate in, then I urge you to contact me. Also, there were two guys there. One that had on the T-shirt that culture is the new currency, and the other, oh my God, art, tribe, trade. Those are our T-shirts, our design whenever we go into those countries. So again, Kwaheri, Yakukaona, goodbye until we meet again.
This opening statement there, only if I can. First time ever working on a tablet, y'all. I'm gonna give a big shout out to my panel. You know, when the host is having his issues and his problems, and if you don't have a good sound team around you, they be I don't know what's going on, and we just can win it. When you got a panel like this, that just knows what to do and just keep the show going, you can't be a team like that. You just can't. One thing in the military that I always learn is the next man up. You got to know your battle buddy's job, because something could happen to him or her that you have to pick up the slack, as well as them learning your job. And on this show, I mean, for anything, for an internet show, football team, or small business, you have to have good people around you, to the point where it's just almost just like psychic telekinesis going on. When that one person down there already know what you're doing. So I want to give a big shout out to Teach, who actually brought Joe on the show. So big ups, shout outs and big props for Teach for that, and then Beast for doing his thing too as well to keep the show going, and even Mayo with him coming in. We always know he's fashionably late. You know, money never sleeps with him, but even for him to do his thing and keep the show going. So I really sincerely blessed to have the team that I have, and I want to thank them. And then also, ladies and gentlemen, just learn that not all internet is created equal. You know, so this hotel internet is just crazy. But guess what? You got to improvise with the environment that you have. And I wish I would have went live on my tablet. But other than that, Joe, once again, you deserve to take a bow. Now they know that just by probably watching this show and seeing what you have produced, what business that you have, you probably just inspired probably 100 people, maybe even 10. But you inspired somebody that's probably already doing it, or you just inspired them to do it. Just those little things, just those little things can inspire somebody to do so much things. And which how you explain your business, what drove you, what motivated you to do it, and also to have a mission. To tell you the truth, when you was talking about your mission, and when Tisha was sending us the information, and you put mission right there. One thing, well, I hate making it about the military, but I'm gonna have to. One thing that's more important than the goal is the mission. And when you put that part of mission, this is the mission with my business. I said this business is going to go far. There's going to be no stopping him. And for anybody that picks up the torch from Joe, will keep that mission going to not only make it his mission, but now it's other people that's in your lane's mission to keep it going, to help it flourish. Not only just for them, not only just for people who's thinking about doing it or people who've been trying to do it. It also goes through the community. And I like, Joe, that you also want what you're doing to influence the community. And you don't hear that with businesses that much. They usually just talk about their business and, the blood, sweat, and tears, and maybe donate it to to their favorite like orphanage or to their favorite charities, and that's it. But you distinctly mention that with your business that you want to influence and help out the community that you live in. And I'm not saying that that's rare to hear that, but for you to make that part of your mission, that's why, Joe, what you're doing will never fail. And I mean that from hard hearts and all this, sincerity, if I said that word right, coming from me. And I mean that. And I wish I would have what I want to say on the cue cards, but I was over here doing my thing, trying to get on and everything. But everything you said was a gem. It's not even hopefully. I know a lot of people was taking notes, or even people that's going to tune in later is going to be winding back, be like, okay, I missed that, but let me go in here and listen to what he said about that and all the stuff that you're saying. And I'm happy that you not only were your guest on the show and explaining your business and your missions, you also was networking on this show too as well. And you answered all of our questions. And I believe that you and Mayo are going to probably connect and work something out with him. And I would love to also work with something out with you too as well offline. But once again, Joe, thank you. And there's a lot of Joes out there that probably were scared to even just mentioning what they want to do. And hopefully, not hopefully, I know that now they don't have no reason to be scared anymore, that they can now come out and pursue their dreams and will not be afraid, not only to fail, but be afraid to hear the criticism and all that stuff and still prove them wrong and still achieve their dream. So once again, Joe, grow your ego, take a bow. You deserved it. You deserve it. And I mean that with all my heart. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for doing what you do. And I see this business that you have being here longer than 10 years. This is something that's going to get passed down from generation to generation, not only within your family, but also in your community. And with that, let me bring everybody else in so we can all do a nice and great and formal goodbye. Anything else everybody want to have to add before we head on out?
You took the words out of my mouth when it came to the whole network. I love to see shit like that.
Well, I'd just like to say, if I could, that it's been a pleasure to be on your channel. I know we need more of this, and if there's any, and so I'll extend out. I'm interested in working with you guys in any way that makes sense to all of us, because there is a lot of room out here. There's a big pie, and it takes a lot of ingredients to bake that or make that pie. So I'm extending myself to say, if you see some things that I'm involved with that can help grow everybody, I'm open for that.
Oh, most sure.
And Joe, and Joe, once again, you are welcome on this show at any time. The door is open, the invitation is always there. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and head on out. Joe, once again, thank you for being a part of the show. As for Anita Joe, aka Teach, Beach Johnson, as well as Mayo, Money Man, Money Never Sleeps, as well as me, your gracious host, Donna Alamonte Moore. Thank y'all for tuning in to another edition of hashtag Fade to Black. We will see you on Friday, and hopefully things will be much better on my end.
Rest in peace, Paul Mooney.
Rest in peace, Paul Mooney.
Happy birthday, Brother Malcolm. Happy birthday, Brother
Malcolm. May they both rest in power, as well as the guy that played off of Beethoven as well. May he also rest in power. We're outro. Y'all have a good one. Catch y'all later. Bye.
Peace.
Good night.